Hi, well, I am AndreVisscher. I am the Alberta coordinator for the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. I work mainly in southern Alberta, where the Canadian Foodgrains Bank raises money to eliminate hunger. That is our goal for the Canadian Foodgrains Bank, to end world hunger. Today there are still 1 billion people in the world that do not have adequate food, and so it's a big job for the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. The way we work is we have what we call growing projects. We have groups of volunteers, often farmers in rural areas, that grow a crop of wheat or canola, barley, for the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. We sell it here, and then we'll be able to buy food in countries where there is a real need for food. The Canadian Foodgrains Bank is actually owned by 15 different church agencies, a total of 32 different denominations, all working together and all having the same goals of ending hunger in this world. And it's great to see Christians working together in the world for ending hunger. We believe that the Bible tells us to the different projects that we're doing is about 68% of our funds are used for food aid projects, and then that can be a food for work project where people are building roads or building irrigation canals, and they get paid with food. And a good example of that would be in Pakistan last year, where there was a major flooding happening, and the Canadian Foodgrains Bank was there to help the people with food aid. The other group of projects we're doing are food security projects, and that food security means to make sure that a family will have enough food for the whole year. So that may be agricultural development projects where we do conservation farming methods, irrigation projects, and so we help them with growing adequate food and develop these agricultural projects. We do also a little bit of work in nutrition. It's important that we supply the correct vitamins and minerals, especially for children. And we've done a number of those projects in India and Bangladesh the last years. We're very effective in raising funds in Canada. We have about 200 growing projects, and the nice thing is, for each dollar that is being used in food aid projects, we receive another $4 from CIDA, the Canadian International Development Agency, from the Canadian government. And so every year we do projects in all over the world, mainly in Africa and Southeast Asia. Last year we worked in 32 different countries. We had 96 different projects, and we spent more than $36 million in these countries. We shipped close to 35,000 tons of food last year. One of the things that the Canadian Foodgrains Bank will do is organize food study tours, and these tours is to visit some of the projects, the development and food aid projects that are happening in different countries. I was fortunate to go on a trip to Ethiopia, and it's a beautiful country, lots of mountains, not much agricultural ground, a lot of people all over, north and south, and we were able to travel through the country. It's just beautiful people. I always felt safe in the country. I walked through Addis Ababa, and people would approach me on the street and just start talking to me about they wanted to practice their English, and it was just really nice experience. And of course it was great to visit some of the projects the Canadian Foodgrains Bank was doing in Ethiopia. We visited one project in the north of Ethiopia in the Afar region. And the Afar region is a very dry, desert-like area. It has a number of large rivers going through them, but very little crops are growing there, and the people that live there are mainly nomads, pastoralists. They have some cattle and maybe some goats, and they go from one area to the other area wherever there is some grass for their cattle. The Canadian Foodgrains Bank was able to help a local organization with developing irrigation projects, and basically what was happening was a weir was built in the river to divert the water, and irrigation canals were built, and it was all done by the local people, and they provided all the labor, and they were paid with food. And some of these canals were going for 5-6 kilometers to the fields, and the difference that made, the soil was actually quite rich, and with a little bit of water, beautiful vegetables would grow, all kinds of peppers, tomatoes, onions, lentils. They had papaya trees, banana trees, and it made a real big difference in the life of the people in the Afar region. We also visited some projects in the south of Ethiopia. It's quite a mountainous area. Here we visited some people, and I was able to stay with some families right in their hut. It's a very small hut, chickens and roosters were in the hut, a couple of goats and a cow, and that's where the family lived and where the family slept. They had received some beehives from the Canadian Foodgrains Bank, and it had made a big difference in their life. The honey was worth a lot of money. They could sell it, and now this family had enough food for the whole year. And they were so thankful when I visited them. One of the first things they did was they wanted to wash my feet, just to show how thankful they were to the Canadian Foodgrains Bank. It was quite moving to get your feet washed. I had to think on Jesus when he washed the feet of the disciples, and then they gave me a plate full of honey. Normally they don't eat the honey themselves; they sell it because it's worth a lot of money. But they wanted me to see the honey, and I had to eat a plate full of honey. It was not easy to finish it all, and I didn't finish it all. But they wanted to share it with me, and you could see it in their eyes how thankful they were. When I stayed with the family, the whole village came over and wanted to see me and visit me. They brought food, and I really could sense that there was a great community of people caring for each other and looking after each other. It was something we can learn from, for sure, here in Canada. I really felt connected with the people. I felt, we are connected, and we can be thankful. I'm very thankful that I have met them, and they have made differences in my life, and I'm for sure thankful for that. And this is something what I really like about the Canadian Foodgrains Bank, Christians working together, all this common goal of ending hunger in this world.